Today's episode of Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by Castalia Cocktails. Don't just drink cocktails, experience them. With matching scents and knowledgeable bartenders to guide you, it's a great experience. Try one of their pairings or feel free to go off the menu with an adventure for your senses. The menu both tells you how boozy a drink is, and there is a full non-alcoholic lineup, taking care to give you a top-notch sensory experience no matter how you'd like to drink. Whether it's the intimate indoor bar with less than 20 seats or on the patio outside, enjoying the best Detroit has to offer, Castalia is a great spot for a night out, a drink after dinner, or a date. They're open to all Wednesdays through Saturdays from 5 to 11 p.m. with a possibility for unique experiences for small groups anytime with a reservation. You can learn more at CastaliaCocktails.com. That's CastaliaCocktails.com. Make sure to support the businesses that support us and stop on by. Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Daily Detroit, sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. We are coming to you from a beautiful vista near downtown Detroit. I'm Jer Stays, and across the table from me is
Devon O'Reilly, back in person. It's been a few weeks since we've been able to do this face-to-face, so glad to chat with you, Jer.
It is always better to be in person, and I'm just going to tell people that we did a very basic bro thing just now.
Well, without giving too much away, let's just say we were very, very close to a Starbucks.
I mean, that doesn't really give much away at all. I mean,
right?
How many Starbucks? There's a Starbucks over there. There's a Starbucks over there. There's a Starbucks over there. There's actually, with that Starbucks in Midtown recently closing, there's actually a number of Starbucks around downtown Detroit.
You could take 50 guesses, and you probably wouldn't get it. But yes, we are within walking distance of probably no less than 4 Starbucks. But we decided to take advantage of that.
Yes, I got a press release that this is the week, this is the time. The pumpkin spice latte is back. That season is there. This is not a sponsored thing, but I will fully admit that I have a basic streak. And so I was like, we got to do this before the show.
Pumpkin spice is a way of life this time of year, especially of the the white community in Southeast Michigan. I don't know how to say it. So yes, I'm accessing my basic bro side here.
Now, you, before this conversation, I know you as a black coffee drinker. You're one of those people who you like a little bit of third wave, you like a little bit of whatever. You're into the pure bean situation. Have you ever had a PSL before now?
So yes, you're right. I put nothing in it. I'm a black coffee drinker, straight up. I just enjoy the bitterness of it. I don't need sweet in my coffee. So I have not had a full-on pumpkin spice latte before. No, I have not.
Okay. Now, we did the pumpkin spice cold brew with the cold foam cream this time. What are your thoughts?
Well, we did a little bit different. Jer, your coffee is probably a little sweeter. Unfortunately, we're not going to taste each other's, but yours should be yours should be a little sweeter because your coffee itself has some vanilla flavoring to it, plus the cold foam. So I got just a black cold brew with just the cold foam on it, which I think makes for a really nice flavor for me at least. The cold foam is super sweet, super pumpkin spicy. I mean, you like that flavor. I can smell like the flavor that I'm tasting. Like that's pumpkin spice right there. That's what everyone thinks. That's what we want to make candles of. Like that's the flavor. But once you get down to the actual coffee, it's just Starbucks cold brew. And what's happening is like the cold foam is kind of like slowly melting into my cold brew and giving it just the slightest kind of pumpkin spice taste. So actually, Jer, I've been converted a bit here, and I think this will be a drink of mine going forward.
Well, that is good to hear. And of course, as you listen to this show, you know that we love our independent coffee shops. We try to shout them out whenever we can. But this is the season, and it makes me feel like we're on the doorstep of fall.
It does. Now, the weather doesn't particularly do that. We're still having quite a summer streak here.
Or bad lightning earlier this week.
Yeah, exactly. We're still in very much a summer streak, but I think, when fall comes, it's going to hit hard in a good way. We'll get the temp drop, and, football's coming on. We talked about this a little bit. Like, fall is on the doorstep, and, I can't not drink a pumpkin spice something and feel like it's fall.
Staying on the food tip, I will mention that a favorite of yours got a pretty nice plaudit for the best vegan restaurant in Metro Detroit. That is from Local 4 WDIV, and that is for Unburger. And you love this place.
Well deserved. Unburger just got a refresh. We talked about it on the show. Got totally they didn't move locations, but they went down to the studs and redeveloped their location. It's super like clean, updated now with lots of like video screens and touchscreen ordering, like cool stuff like that. They added kombucha on tap. They added vegan soft serve ice cream, vegan cookie sandwiches, ice cream cookie sandwiches. I think when people hear like best vegan restaurant, you're thinking of something where you sit down, get like a gourmet vegan thing. This is like a burger place, but in a really good way. They've got vegan burgers, chicken sandwiches that are not chicken sandwiches, of course, chili cheese fries, nachos, chicken parmesan sandwiches. It's really kind of like your fast casual comfort food, but done really, really well, and even better than some places that serve the actual meat.
Okay, so here's the deal. I am a guy who likes food. I'll just fully admit that. If you listen
don't
to
say.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm trying to do a bit better. And recently, you get the cravings. I'll fully admit, I get the cravings. I'm like, I want some sort of burger. Like to me, and we can disagree here, but to me, like the turkey burger doesn't do it. And the other day, I'll admit, like I was having the cravings to be like, you know what? I just need a quarter pounder with cheese. I need something. Will Unburger get me any way of the way there? Will it help me with the gray ghost level craving or the make it myself? Like, can I help some of my needs get met at the Unburger?
That's a good question because it's an important distinction. I think Unburger is going to absolutely hit and exceed your expectations of like a Burger King, McDonald's, like that type of a burger. You know, it's a better flavor. It tastes more like meat, frankly, than a Burger King or a McDonald's burger. Where it only is different, and I'm not even saying it's not any worse because I love the taste of Unburger, but if you are truly looking for that taste of like beef, like the umami beef, that is so hard to replicate. And in places like a Grey Ghost that do it really, really well, you're just not going to get that like umami beef flavor. But Unburger does a really fantastic job. And I think I mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. They have different patty options. So you can get a black bean burger, and it's going to taste a little more like a veggie burger. But if you get their Impossible Burger, that really, really mimics the beef flavor about as well as just about anything.
Now, you were mentioning about digital ordering and things. There was in the news that Taco Bell is really trying to go cashless and all digital orders. This is a story that made the rounds in like the last week because there are a number of Taco Bells in Metro Detroit. There's a new one that opened. It actually has a fountain in the front of it at the Grosse Pointe Detroit border on the Detroit side, on the east side.
Is the fountain full of Baja Blast?
I don't know, but I'm going to have to find out. Like go swimming in the blast?
I mean, maybe after a night out.
How do you feel about this whole digital thing? Now, with new ordinances coming into the city of Detroit, I don't think they're going to be able to go completely cashless within the city proper. But what do you think about this? Are you a fan of the kiosk? Do you like to go into a place, fast casual, whatever? I know you're not the biggest fast food guy. Do you want the kiosk or do you want the person?
I want the kiosk. It's easy. It's a streamlined process. You can kind of sit there and kind of like play on a little bit and figure out what you want to order. They're usually pretty fast with that stuff. And when I'm in line at a fast food restaurant, I feel like it's like, you know, you're constantly pressured by the people behind you to like hurry up and order, have your order ready. As far as cash versus not cash, I mean, I guess along with most people, I just don't use cash anymore. I have it on me just for situations, you know, tips, valets, things like that. But if I'm going to any restaurant, really, it's extremely rare that I'm going to use cash. So transitioning to cashless, honestly, for me personally, doesn't affect me whatsoever, but I do realize that can be a burden to some people. And so, I don't know, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know the logistics and the financials behind this. I would think that places should stick with cash as an option, knowing that 90% of the people are using card anyway.
Well, you could have a machine that takes cash. Like they exist.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting to see this switch and the change of things that have been happening, you know, I think accelerated by the pandemic. And I also think there are some things happening in development that I feel like we had this big buildup before the pandemic and then it paused back. And I think we're on the verge of a whole new slew of things. And that's why I think today's where we've been needs to change into where we're going, Devon, because before the show, you were like, hey, we got to talk about some things.
We do, and there are things that are like right on the horizon or on the doorstep. We've used that term already today, but
how many cheesy segues can we get, guys?
We are truly on the doorstep, on the cusp. I was telling you before the show that it's starting to kind of feel like a pre-pandemic Detroit with like the the development stories. Now, I know earlier in the week, we can even talk about it. We talked about some of the different developments, the residential developments that are happening, that are being built out. This week, we also got word that the Godfrey Hotel is open in Corktown on Michigan Avenue. We got word that the Bar Zuzu in the Guardian building, or kind of the Guardian Annex, as they'll call it, is opening up. This like really kind of cool cocktail bar with like a Japanese flair is opening up.
Upstairs bar, which has got like that anime house feeling. It's going to be, that's what I'm really interested in checking out.
It'll be really cool. You'll be able to check that out starting this weekend, apparently. And then you've got the Book Tower, which kind of it's been in the process of opening, but the restaurant itself, La Supreme, is going to be opened up this weekend.
I can't wait for the bread shop. I'm really
know,
excited about the bread shop, right? Because you can go grab a thing, then go back to work or whatever. I feel like I'm all about La Supreme. I'm all about all those fancy things, but I love grab-and-go spots.
And as we talked about, the Book Tower is going to have so many things in it. So this is kind of the first one that's going to come online. So like we're on the doorstep. Should I say it again?
You got the Godfrey Hotel.
Yeah, the Godfrey Hotel is going to be an amazing space. We've seen some pictures, some video of it. Another hotel in Corktown. They need it. I mean, with all the activity that's going on there, they need the hotel space. We're also going to, of course, get a bar, a restaurant. I believe it's called Hamilton's. And then finally, we have to mention Sullivan Steakhouse is about to open up. We saw the patio is up. They put the umbrellas. They put kind of the borders out there. I happened to be walking around the other day and looked like they were interviewing staff. So they might be getting a team together.
We posted a story on Instagram from you.
And I think Sullivan's will be opened up. So it's like, wow, I don't remember a time post 2020 where we had kind of all this flurry of activity around the bar and restaurant scene and hospitality scene. I love that stuff, so I'm super excited for it.
And I'm curious, too, because you see other purchases happening. So Assemble Sound sold their church headquarters to Ford for a good amount of money. I would love to see at some point that CPA building get moved. Like, just give it to, like, just sell it to Ford or what, like, do something with it. Because if you look at Corktown, I was by the Godfrey Hotel and all that other stuff, and I was like, you know what? This block is going to be great when the CPA building has finally done something with it. Like it's now starting to stick out like a sore thumb. And to see those things all come together is really exciting. Like you're right. When it comes to getting these developments and things moving, there seems to be some momentum happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some frustrating land speculation that's happening in Corktown, where I think what you'll see, and if you walk on Michigan Avenue, you'll notice there is still, as much life as there is, there's still a lot of buildings that are like, with for lease or for sale. And I think people are trying to hold on for some exorbitant amounts of money that I think they need to just realize they're not going to get.
Well, that's why they want to change the tax structure,
I think this is top of the market. So anyone listening who's got a building in Corktown, sell it, lease it, let's do something with it. I'm telling you, you're not going to get more than you are now for it. But no, so it's an exciting time in Corktown and throughout the city in development. Love to see that economic development happening, Jared, because that just means opportunities for, again, more people to maybe come here, spend their money here, maybe perhaps move here.
So I got to ask you then, because it got a lot of feedback, and I'm going to bring it up with you, and I'm sure I'll bring it up with Norris. We got a ton of feedback about those higher rent towers near the riverfront, near Corktown, a couple of things we discussed on the Wednesday show. You can go back if you didn't listen, listen to Norris Howard and get his kind of thoughts on it. I know that there is a lot of things happening over there, like West Riverfront Park and the new Joe Louis Greenway, which fortunately are things that everybody can enjoy. But I wanted to get your thoughts because you definitely are part of like more of like the businessy coverage of what we do. Not to set aside what Norris said, I know that it's something you might want to say something about.
Detroit is very hyper-localized, especially downtown, is very hyper-localized in terms of like where you can get X amount versus where you can get X amount. And it's like, on this street, this intersection, a building there, you can get $4,000 a month. A building 3 blocks away, no way. So this is a good juxtaposition for me. And I think there's two that you discussed that kind of, to me, are the make sense and doesn't make sense. So on the riverfront, you have that tower. I can't recall. Do you know what the development and the name is? I think it's a Sterling Group that's doing it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of the glass box that's going up. And they're looking at, $3,000, $4,000, up to $10,000 for penthouses.
And I will say, people have reached out to me. They're signing people up.
Yeah.
They're signing people up. There are people who are doing this. So let's put this in the
There
stake.
is some market.
There is some market. People are signing up. There is interest in this.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll fill the building at those prices, but there is some interest. So that's happening. But at the same time, that's a place to me where it's not very walkable. You can't get really anywhere right now. They can say that they're going to have all these amenities. Maybe they will. But right now, there's really not a lot of amenities.
It's a future bet.
It is.
So I would be more comfortable with the future bet if I'm buying.
No. No, Jer.
Really?
No. Let me finish. No.
Okay.
You're jumping ahead. So here, I'm bearish on that. I think the 3,000, 4,000 a month, you can bet on the future if you're getting a deal now, Jer. But if you're paying top of the market prices for a future bet, I don't like it. What I do like, bullish. What was the Jim Cramer?
Oh, God.
Hit the button. Bullish.
Where's our sound machine, right? That's the one thing Daily Detroit's never had is like the sound box. If you've got sound ideas for drops we should have, dailydetroit@gmail.com. Anyway.
I am bullish on the Corktown spaces, the ones on Leverett. We kind of shared them back and forth. There's like a brownstone townhouses that were going for $3,000, $4,000.
$3,950.
And also selling for $600,000 plus. And I looked it up, and at least 4 units have sold at $600,000 to $700,000.
That's the price of Corktown now.
And that's the price of Corktown. I mean, that's where the
Corktown is as expensive as Grosse Pointe now.
The market,
which is nuts to a lot of people locally.
I know,
but it's true.
The market has already bared that out. People are paying for that. For single family, you're getting up to $800,000. You're getting $700,000 for these townhouses. They're really well done inside. I mean, I know the design isn't for everybody. It's very modern.
I like my stairs with railings.
Yeah, well,
and my dog won't go upstairs that you can see
for
through.
$650,000 or for $4,000 a month. Maybe you can figure out a solution
I'm sure I
for
could.
that. But that I am more bullish on. I think that there is clearly a market for that. Particularly, again, it comes back to jobs, Jer. And that's how I'll kind of like wrap this up, is just saying that in Corktown, you have the Michigan Central project. I know for a fact, they're bringing Bay Area startup companies there. They're bringing Bay Area tech talent. And you know what? They're paying Bay Area tech talent. So you got to pay for that talent. For it in Michigan Central, it's not just for it itself. There's a lot of different entities involved. But there's a lot of money going around there, and there's really, really lucrative jobs. And so those people are able to afford that.
So that gets to the heart of the question from a lot of listeners. Who is making this kind of money? And I think you're outlining this very well, that there is definitely a difference in what you're going to get paid and what certain types of jobs can get paid in this economy now. And if you're on that good side, look, and I know listeners that do it. Like we have listeners that make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. And I've met some of them. That's because that's what the market bears for their skills now.
Yeah. And I think, again, going back to, sometimes when we get really local, companies that only have a presence here, their only world is paying here. So their wages for them are what the market bears here. You get some of these companies that are coming from New York and Brooklyn. Think of like New Lab that's in the Michigan Central. They're kind of part of that Michigan Central project, but they're based out of Brooklyn. They have locations everywhere. They pay like a Brooklyn-based company.
I have one friend and a listener who a few years ago made $40,000 as like a base level coder guy, and then ended up switching to companies that are not based here. And now they are making over 6 figures. And that is a difference in 5 years in their change of station in life. And that is just the reality.
You can even reverse engineer that, Jared, and think about like we talk about where with the new remote work model, people can work for a company in the Bay Area, and those places, like you work for Salesforce, you work for a tech startup, and they'll pay you Bay Area prices, and then you can have your cost of living so low being here in, cost of living low in quotation marks, but $600,000 isn't much in San Francisco. So
Yeah. Before I let people go, I want to mention that August 26th, this Saturday, is International Dog Day, Devon, and we are both dog lovers.
Yes, I love my Winnie. I'm going to celebrate with her somehow. I don't know what exactly we'll do, but we'll do some of the things that she likes. And maybe we'll go somewhere in Detroit that allows dogs. And I think we have a nice little list that lets us know some of the more dog-friendly places, right?
Yeah, and to be clear, and I'm somebody who's taken my dogs around to places in Detroit for a long time, and I always try to make sure, is the vibe good for dogs before you go? You never want to impose your dog, in my opinion, on someone who might not be comfortable, right? So it's good to know places that are friendly for these things up ahead of time. And I thought about this because I was on the East River front over by Mount Elliott Park and all of that. And by the way, Valade Park, beautiful over there. If you haven't gotten over to that section of the riverfront, you really need to. Between what the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy and Bedrock have done on that east side, it is absolutely gorgeous. There's the Bob's Barge, and there's places to eat, and there's just great dog walking experience there. I also saw a huge great blue heron, which was very cool. My dog was very confused by this because the bird's way bigger than the dog. My dog's not a small one. But I ran into the K9 to 5 pack walk, which I didn't realize was happening. And that also reminded me that K9 to 5 is opening up their East Jefferson location over there on the east side of the city. And so it's so great to see Liz Blondie and all of them, the doggy daycare, doing really well. That's one way to like get your dog out. They do those pack walks pretty regularly. You could go check that out. And then there's a number of spots around town, and maybe you can share some of yours too. I didn't know this. I was told that the Skip is dog friendly, which kind of makes sense. It's kind of outdoorsy.
Sure, yeah.
Brakeman.
Yeah.
Roasting Plant.
I guess the outside.
Yeah, the outside, like the patio area there. Moot's Pizzeria. Canal. So like you can stop by these places on like
All of those have patios, so I'm
Yep.
getting theme here.
Yep. The Roost, which is a hotel, and then also the Shinola Hotel, which you can stay with your dog at.
Interesting. So I'm wondering, I wonder if they could also go to San Morello too.
I mean, I don't know if they can go in, but the whole idea if you went to the patio or something like that.
Yeah.
So you could have a dog-friendly Detroit stay if you want to, or if you're just coming down for the day or something like that. There's also some great dog parks. Obviously, there's the Shinola Dog Park that's right there in Midtown that you can check out a bunch of stuff. That's one of my dog's favorite places to go. I know
Grand Circus has a great one.
That's right. Grand Circus has a great park.
And even Capitol Park here also. They just built a new one.
Oh, that's right.
Renovated.
That's right.
So, yes,
That's right.
Detroit is becoming a very dog-friendly city, as it should.
And I know there's a couple places that you've taken Winnie to.
Well, I got a shout out when we were, especially when we were living in Midtown. We loved going to 8 Degrees Play-Doh, and they were super dog friendly, both inside and outside. So like that was actually even a really icing on the cake, because not only could we take Winnie there during the summer months and spring months and sit on the patio, but even in the winter months we could walk her up there and we could sit inside and hang out. And it's just a really cool environment for dogs and for people, and not to mention an incredible selection of beers.
And of course, always leash and be responsible with licensing for your dog and all that other stuff. But I have noticed when I've traveled, whether it's Chicago, Columbus, other cities, there's definitely like an uptick in taking your dog places.
Oh, yeah. I think people they're part of the families now. And it's like where if you're going somewhere, the dog's got to go somewhere. So, hey, I'm all for it.
Well, I hope that people like those suggestions. Where do you take your dogs around Metro Detroit? It's 313-789-3211 or dailydetroit@gmail.com. Devon O'Reilly, it's so good to talk to you, man.
Great to share a PSL or whatever we're calling this pumpkin spice brew with you today.
See, we can laugh at ourselves. I will fully admit that I am a basic bro with this.
Yep, I have my moments. Yeah, this is certainly one of them. The next one will happen when I start breaking out my flannel collection for the fall.
Do you have a flannel collection?
I have.
You strike me as a polo guy.
Well, polo's in the summer, but I have flannels that will make an appearance in the fall.
Well, you know who our resident expert on flannel is? Engineer Randy.
Interesting.
Well, with that, I am Jer Stays.
I'm Devon O'Reilly.
Thank you so much for listening to your Daily Detroit. Remember that you are somebody, and we'll see you around town.